What I like a lot about Harry Potter is discussing theories, some of which are really interesting, some did come true, and some are making no sense, mostly due to lack of evidence. So in today's video, we'll be discussing 8 of the darkest and craziest Harry Potter fan theories that could be true, so let's get into it. Starting first with, Harry Potter is now immortal. This theory ties into the prophecy that connects Harry's fate with the Voldemort. The prophecy stated that one must meet his downfall at the hand of the other. This means that Harry is the only person or thing that can end Voldemort's life. But this also could mean that Voldemort is the only person or thing that can end Harry's life. Now that Voldemort is gone, this could potentially have left Harry as an immortal being. Voldemort also believed that if he eliminated Harry, he would achieve immortality. So who's to say that the opposite isn't true? With Harry eliminating Voldemort, he gained immortality. If that is the case, Harry is now the boy who lived forever. Next one is a theory that I strongly disapproved. It is as follows. The Dursleys were mean to Harry because of a Horcrux. The Dursleys were truly awful people, and it's surprising how child services never knew about how horrible they were to Harry. But what if there was a reason behind their behavior? This fan theory suggests the reason is because they were under the constant influence of a Horcrux. As explained in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, being under the influence of a Horcrux makes people miserable and mean. But what was the Horcrux in question? The theory suggests that Harry himself is the Horcrux that Voldemort unwillingly created when he tried to take Harry out as a baby. This theory could be true, but one thing makes it not. Why didn't Ron and Hermione become as mean and cruel as the Dursleys? Because when you think about it, Harry spends 9 months with them and 3 months with the Dursleys. He literally spends more time around Ron and Hermione than the Dursleys. So if Harry had affected the family, he could have affected his 2 friends as well. Next on, Ginny used the love potion on Harry. Ginny had a crush on Harry in the very beginning of the books and movies. Harry, on the other hand, never seemed to notice Ginny at all. That is until the Half-Blood Prince, when Harry suddenly seems to fall head over heels in love with her. This theory states that Ginny created a love potion and used it on Harry, and that's why he suddenly seemed to fall in love with her. Considering that the Weasley brothers actually sell a love potion in their shop, it wouldn't have been that hard for her to get her hands on one. There are not a lot of evidence on this theory. As for how long Ginny kept giving Harry the potion, I mean, the two got married later in life and had children. She couldn't just keep doing it after all this time. And she couldn't stop it as well, because we all know what happened to Voldemort's father when his mom stopped giving him the love potion, so the theory remains unsolved. Next on, Neville wasn't a bad wizard, he just had the wrong wand. Neville's parents were 2 very accomplished wizards. It seems a little weird that Neville seemed to have very little magical capacity at Hogwarts. Neville spent most of his time in school learning spells, but at the same time he was actually a bright student who had no problem defending himself from the Death Eaters. So what did actually change? One fan theory suggests that Neville was a good wizard, but that he had a wrong wand. In Harry Potter, the wand must choose the wizard, but never choose to use his father's wand. It does make sense that this wand was not the right one for Neville. After this wand broke, Neville finally went through the process of having a wand choose him, and it seemed that he became a better wizard for it. Crookshanks was Lily Potter's cat. In Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, J.K. Rowling wrote about how Lily Potter once had a cat. There is an art of the Potter family including their pet cat. A fan theory suggests that this cat was actually Crookshanks, who eventually became Hermione's familiar. The theory suggests that Crookshanks lived in the magical menagerie until Hermione adopted him. The book even confirms that the cat had been there for a very long time. This would also explain how Crookshanks knew that Ron's rat, Scabbers, was actually Peter Pettigrew, and knew that Peter was up to no good. This theory also explains why Crookshanks once helped Sirius Black, even when it meant putting the lives of the children in danger. The theory states that's because Crookshanks knew both men before he ever met Ron, Hermione and Harry. I've made a video about this whole theory, explaining it from the beginning till the end, so feel free to check it out later, it's really worth it. Moving on to Harry and Sirius are related by blood. When Harry first met his godfather Sirius Black in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, he finally felt like he had someone that cared about him as a family should. Sirius was one of the father's closest friends and took Harry in as if the boy were his own son. One fan theory suggests that Harry and Sirius have another bond, though this theory states that Harry and Sirius are probably actually related by blood. The Black family tree had many blood traitor names burned off of it. but it did show a marriage shown between Doria Black and Carlos Potter. The theory suggests that James Potter was their unnamed son on the family tree, or that Charles Potter was another kind of direct blood relation to James. Considering that most purebloods are probably related in some way, this theory makes a lot of sense. The bloodline in Harry Potter is completely connected. For example, if you dig deep enough, you'll find out that Voldemort is actually related to Harry. It's all coming from the Piffero family line. Also, not to mention that Draco is related to Bellatrix, which makes Draco being related to Sirius, and therefore to Harry himself. The more you think about it, the more complicated it gets. The obstacles Harry, Ron and Hermione face in the Philosopher's Stone foreshadow the rest of the series. The first trouble they have to face is the Devil's Snare, a plant very similar to the Whomping Willow that Harry and Ron get caught in the second book. The second trouble is the broom and winged keys, which are symbolic of the Quidditch match where Harry is attacked by Dementors in Prisoner of Azkaban. The third is the life-sized chess match, stylized like a graveyard, a bezel leading up to death, similar to the maze in the Goblet of Fire that ends up with Harry in a graveyard. The next obstacle is a troll, just like Graham, who appears in the 5th novel. The next is a potion puzzle, which is reflected in the 6th book's Important on Potions teacher Professor Slughorn, and the Half-Blood Prince potion book that Harry finds. Finally, Harry finds himself face to face with Voldemort, just like he does in Deathly Hallows. Moving finally to saving Snape. The Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom was a revolving door for professors at Hogwarts during Harry's time as a student. First, they were a Professor Quirrell who carried Voldemort on the back of his head. Then came Gilderoy Lockhart, who was a fraud and lost all of his memories due to a misfired memory charm. Remus Lupin also walked away after he was exposed as a werewolf. Then Mad Eye Moody turned out to be Barty Crouch Jr. in disguise, and Dolores Umbridge got herself dismissed for general wickedness before Severus Snape was finally transferred from all his potion position to take over the position. All the while, Snape seemed like the most obvious choice for the role, and some fans were left to wonder why he didn't get it until Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. One theory has it that Dumbledore never gave him the post to protect him. The idea is that because he wouldn't let Tom Riddle have the job years before, he cursed the possession and assured that everyone who chose it would suffer some kind of cruel fate and serve just 1 year. Dumbledore knew all of this and refused Snape the job until he made the unbreakable vow to kill Dumbledore, and thus resigned himself to a horrible year already. The theory may also explain why Snape as a headmaster installed Death Eater Amicus Carroll in the role next, as he was clearly willing to get rid of the guy whenever possible. That was all for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching and I'll see you again soon.